Shomru b'nei Yisrael emes ha-Shabbos v'asois es ha-Shabbos.
Good afternoon. We're continuing with the laws of Sukkos, and in the Mishnah Berurah, Tafresh Lametes, and we're in the middle of Sif Hey, which is 639.5. And we were talking about last time what happens if it's raining in the sukkah. It's raining and the water's getting in the sukkah. About going inside, that you don't have to sit and eat in the sukkah. Now, we were talking about the last days of Sukkos, meaning every day but except for the first day, the first 2 days really. Now, there's a difference between the first day of Sukkos, the first night of Sukkos, and the rest of Sukkos. The difference is like this. The entire Sukkos, if you want to eat, then you have to eat in the sukkah. But there is no requirement to go eat in the sukkah. If you don't eat, then you don't have to go in the sukkah. However, the first night is different. The first night there's an obligation to go and eat in the sukkah. So whether you're hungry or not, you have to go in the sukkah and eat. That's only on the first night. It's a Torah mitzvah to eat in the sukkah. The other nights, you don't have to go and eat. If you don't eat bread, let's say, or you're not hungry, then you don't have to go in the sukkah at all. No requirement to go in the sukkah. Not so great, but there's no requirement. On the first night, there's an absolute requirement to eat a eggs volume, let's say about a certain amount of bread, say half a roll to be safe, one of those little rolls, half a roll to be safe. That amount of bread in the sukkah to make kiddush in the sukkah. So what do you do if it's raining on the first night of Sukkos? What do you do then? So let's read a couple of opinions and then we'll conclude with the final law. Okay, so this is the Rama. It says, V'chol zeh dafka b'shar yamim oleila shel Sukkos. Everything we've been talking about is on the other days of Sukkos. Avalayla rishon etzarech le'echel kazayas b'sukkah. On the first night you have to eat a kazayas, which is the volume of an egg, in the sukkah. Af im gishamim yardim, which I think Rav Moshe Heinemann says is like a golf ball, even if it's raining. So the Ramah writes that in the first night you should eat in the sukkah even if it's raining. V'ikadish b'sukkah kadesh yomer zman al sukkah, and you should make kiddush in the sukkah also, so that when you make the shehachianu bracha, the bracha where we thank Hashem for bringing us to this day, that bracha should also be made in the sukkah. So if it's raining, the Ramah says you make kiddush in the sukkah, and you have to eat at least a kazayas of bread in the sukkah. Now we're going to see there's other opinions. So let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Of a laila, the afshehu mitztar machmas hageshem v'chol mitztar patim in the sukkah sfir leila Ramah kedasa paiskim desofen b'leila rishona af mitztar chayev v'taimim dekevin degamrina chamisha aser mechaga matzas legamri gamrinan mahasam v'chol gavne chayev af b'sukkah kein. So he's explaining the opinion of the Ramah, what we just read, that you have to eat in the sukkah even if it's raining on the first night. And he says the reason is because there's a hekesh. A hekesh is a comparison and exegesis, I think the word is, between the 15th of Tishrei, when Sukkot falls out on, and the 15th of Nisan. Just like on the 15th of Nisan, which is the first day of Passover, you have to eat matzah no matter what, so too, on Sukkot, the first night of Sukkot, you have to eat in the sukkah no matter what. If it's raining, if it's hailing, whatever, you got to eat in the sukkah. That's what the Ramah holds. But then the Mishnah Berurah says, and no, Yesh od migedolia rishonim, the svirulhu digzer shava zulav lahachiasi. He says, no, that's not what this hekesh means. There are other early rabbis that argue on this interpretation. Ve'ein lechalek ben laila rishon l'shar yomim. They say there's no difference between the first night and the other nights regarding rain. Ve'al kain hechriya kamach reinim. Da'aftem mechuyev lechel b'sukkah machmat safek birchas leishiv b'sukkah lo yivarech. The safek brachos lahakel. They say like this, that these rabbis hold that when it's raining in the sukkah, there is absolutely no mitzvah to eat in the sukkah. So if it's raining on the first night, according to these rabbis, tough luck. You don't eat in the sukkah. You missed the mitzvah. Now, what do? We have a debate between two rabbis here. One group of rabbis say that when it's raining on the first night, you should eat in the sukkah, and you should make a bracha. And the other group of rabbis say, no, you shouldn't eat there's no point of eating in the sukkah. So what do? So the rule is that if there's no debate, it's a Torah mitzvah, we do it. However, we don't make a blessing. We don't make a blessing because we might hold like the rabbis that say that when it's raining, even on the first night, you don't eat in the sukkah. There's no point of eating in the sukkah if it's raining, that you don't fulfill the mitzvahs of eating in the sukkah, so you would not make the blessing of leishev b'sukkah. Now, let's see. Now, that's if it's raining the whole night. So let's say, what happens if from the time sukkah starts, let's say it starts at candlelighting, I'm making this up, this is not the real candlelighting, let's say candlelighting is 7 p.m., and it's raining from 7 p.m. until dawn the next morning. So what would you do? You would make kiddush in the sukkah, and you would eat a kazayas of bread in the rain, and you would not make a leishev b'sukkah, and then you could go inside your house. But usually we don't know that necessarily it's going to rain the whole night, unless it's going to be a hurricane or something. Let's see. Od kasvu. These rabbis say that you should wait until midnight to see if the rain goes away. Because according to them, there's no mitzvah to eat in the sukkah if there's rain. However, maybe the rain will stop. So let's say it's midnight and the rain stops. You could go in the sukkah and fulfill your mitzvah of eating in the sukkah. So they say you have to wait till halachic midnight. And then you can make a bracha and eat. However, there's other rabbis that say you don't have to wait until midnight. That's a long time. They say, imagine you wait until midnight and you've got kids and you've got the whole family over and you're making them wait hours and hours to eat the meal on the eve of Sukkos. He says that we're supposed to be happy on the Yontiv, and this would take away from the happiness of the Yontiv. So what do they say? He said, really what you should wait is an hour or two. And he says, if the rain doesn't stop, then you can make kiddush in the sukkah and you could eat that little bit of bread. So what do we do? Practically, hopefully it won't rain in the first night of Sukkos. But what if it rains on the first night of Sukkos? So you wait an hour or two, and if it stops raining, then you go inside the sukkah, you make kiddush, and you eat your meal after the rain stops. Very good. Now let's say after an hour or two it doesn't stop raining. So then you go into the sukkah in the rain, you make kiddush, you make hamotzi, but you do not make the bracha of leishev b'sukkah. And then you could finish your meal inside. Okay, and then the other nights of Sukkos, if it's raining, just eat inside, no big deal at all. Okay, let me just see here for a second. Okay, and we're going to stop here for the day, and wishing everyone a Gemar Chasima Tova.